Okay, it's a cold, wet day here today. We're going to be replacing the steering wheel here on my 2003 Ram 1500. This is going to be from the years 2002 to 2003. If you go up from 2004, it's going to be a little bit different. You have a couple of 10 millimeters that hold on the back. So I'll go ahead and show you the steering wheel and the condition of it here. Okay, so here's the steering wheel, and I mean, it's not just horrible, but it's the little things, the details that make a difference. You know, first thing you see when you hop in and as you're driving, you see, you know, a ripped up steering wheel. I've definitely seen a lot worse, but this part just going to be reusing, has the airbag and everything. But we've got another wheel from a 2002 that's in much better shape that we're going to be putting on here. Now the first thing we're going to do, because we're going to be messing with the airbag, is go ahead and disconnect our negative. So we'll go ahead and pop the hood here and get that took care of. Okay, so we just took our 10 millimeter and slipped that negative off there, and we'll let that discharge the power for about 5 minutes or so. Okay, after you get your negative disconnected, you'll want to turn your steering wheel like this. And what we're going to be doing basically is removing these, where these buttons are here, and we take some kind of T15, whatever you have. It's a Torx, and we're going to get back here, back in behind, and you can see right up in here, there's our Torx. So there's two of them. We got one here, and then we got one more that's down here, right there. So we're going to take those out, and essentially that's going to pop these loose, and we'll disconnect these here and we'll move on. So just you need kind of a short, you don't want a real long, whatever you're using to get in here, because you'll hit your instrument cluster, and you can't really see what you're doing unless you use a mirror, so you just kind of go by feel. But it is a T15. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these now. Okay, and there's what that screw looks like. It's kind of a special little screw. You could also use a 7 millimeter, I suppose. 7 millimeter will fit right over. It might actually be easier to use the 7 millimeter. But that's what that looks like. Nonetheless, we've got that out, so this will just wiggle out of here now. You don't have to take these and unclip them if you don't need to, unless you're replacing this back piece here. So I'm just going to leave this for now. There's nothing wrong with this. I'm just going to leave that there, but you can see that it exposes this Torx right here. But we've got one there, and we also got another one down here, so I need to go ahead and remove this lower screw like this from the bottom. We'll pop this lower piece out. Okay, now with those out of the way, we can go ahead and get to these. These are going to be T30s, and we're going to remove those both completely. Got our Torx, and these aren't very difficult. We'll just get the upper. So once you break these loose, very easy to go ahead and remove them. And there is that first one. Let's set that aside. Okay, now we can go ahead and pull this back, and we'll work on disconnecting the cables we have here. Very easy, just squeeze in here. You see these on each side. Just give those a squeeze on each side right here. Squeeze that. Pops right out of there. You can see those. Very easy to squeeze those in. Okay, then we just have this one right here. We have to push that down. It's usually easier to use a pick tool. Push it down right there where that white part is, and then we can pull that out. So I'm going to get a pick tool to do that, or a small screwdriver. Okay, you can see I pushed that in right there, and that pulled right out. So now we have this completely disconnected, and we can set this aside here. Okay, now for this, you're going to need a 13 millimeter. Now, these are pretty snug. You'll want to use a good long handled something, or you may need a cheater bar and then hold this steel. Now, this was already loose. Another thing I noticed before I took this off, you can see how it's wiggling because this is not tight at all. Now, I don't know why it's loose, but I'm going to find out, and it may be that it's just worked itself loose, but whatever the case, we'll be putting some Loctite back onto this here. Okay, now there's that bolt completely loose and out of there. Now, when you take yours loose, it's more than likely not going to be loose like this. It should be really tight. And in order to pull it off of here, you could use a puller, but usually all you have to do is just grip this with both hands and just give it a good firm pull from side to side, and then you should be able to start wiggling it off. Now, another important thing you want to do before you remove this is you want to, if you don't have a mark already, put you a mark on this and this at least, and have you some kind of a mark so you can get this back into alignment, or you'll be having to take it off and readjust it to get your steering wheel back straight again. So we need to get some kind of a reference on this, scribe a mark or something, and the same place on here to make sure that we get this back into the same spot that it's in. So anyways, at this point we could remove it. However, we do have a few more wires clipped on here. I'm going to be reusing this back piece, so I don't need to unclip these. All I'm going to do is right now take out these 4 Phillips screws that we have. We're just going to go ahead and take those out, remove those 4 Phillips screws, and then this back will be loose from the steering wheel because I don't need to unclip this or anything. I can just go ahead and take those loose. I'm going to be transferring it over anyways. There's nothing wrong with this one. Okay, so you can see we got those 4 Phillips screws from out of there. Now this is completely detached from the steering wheel itself. Now once we got our mark, all we got to do is wiggle this wheel off here. Okay, now you can see I just took some paint and I marked the shaft under here, and then got in the center of this, and then I've got a mark over here too, so I should get it pretty close. We'll check it out before we go ahead and lock it down. So now we're just going to go ahead and just wiggle this off. And said yours will be more solid, but you'll just take both hands and go pulling on it from side to side till you can wiggle it completely off. Okay, and just a little tug, it pulled right off there. So there's the old one, and there's all that is. You can see the splines that it just sets on. And we're going to take the other one and we're just going to set it right back into place and use my mark that I have there, and then we'll have to move this back cover because the way I've got it there, or I could go ahead and fasten it on my steering wheel, one or the other. Okay, so there we have that. You can see my little paint mark and you can see the pencil line that I've got there. So I like that. I'm going to go ahead and move this plastic cover back into position here. So we just got the little places for the screws to go in right here. We'll go ahead and fasten that back into place. And then we're going to get some Loctite on our bolt here, but we're going to make sure that it is in fact straight before I get it bolted down and get the bolt in. Okay, now I went ahead and checked the alignment. It looks good. I'm going to put some high strength. You can see I got on there. And it says it's non-removable. You know, it is difficult to remove the high strength, but it does remove. But I do not want this thing to be vibrating loose again, so we're going to use the high strength on it. I know that stuff holds really well, so I'm just going to go ahead and snug it down really good and tight. I'm not going to get just crazy with it, but we're going to tighten it up really good and snug here. Okay, and with that snug down, we got some Loctite on it. We know that's not going to move. We got our screws fastened in the back of our plastic piece there, not just terrible tight. We don't want to strip them out, but they're nice and snug. So now at this point, all we need to do is go ahead and take our airbag and we're just going to make our connection with our plug there. And well, this other one here I took out, actually I didn't even need to remove, but we'll go ahead and put that back in place as well. Now this clock spring, you want to make sure that you're not turning it a whole lot, because you can mess those up. But we'll go ahead and get these wires reconnected. Okay, so this one goes on the back. I was going to the wrong spot there. This one goes on the back here. There was nothing in that one. This one goes here. And this one just pushes right back onto here. Not a big deal. Just kind of make sure you got it oriented in the right way. That just pushes and snaps right back down onto that. Now this clamp here, you'll notice that it's got that piece right there. If it will focus in, you can see on the connector there's a piece right there that goes into the groove. So that has to be pointed in the right direction to slide into that groove. So in other words, it's got to go just like that and down in the groove, or it won't go in. Okay, and with those on, we'll just push this right back onto here, and we just got to get our Torx right back into there, and we'll snug those down. Okay, and with those two T30s snug down, we can go ahead and get these back into place. Nothing to them, we just slide. Okay, and so with it into place, we just take our screw, like so we come from the back and go right back in here, and we just kind of have to feel for it. We'll get it right back into place there. Okay, so we got the top one snug down. And the main thing with these little bolts and these plastic, going into plastic like that, the main thing is just don't over tighten it. It doesn't take a lot to hold it, and you go to over tighten it and then you're going to strip the plastic out and it won't hold at all. So we're just getting ready to get the bottom one here, and we'll be finished up with this. Okay, and here it is. I just cleaned it up a little bit, but you can see how much nicer this looks. All we got to do is just connect the battery back. But said It's the little details that you would be surprised will make a huge difference as far as looks. And this steering wheel, we've got a salvage yard not far, and I think it was only $8 just for the steering wheel. Now if you have to get the airbag and all that, it's going to cost you more. The airbags are really pricey for those, but you can see the difference. This has got like paint on it, all chipping and peeling off. There's just not much you can do. Now you can, if you don't have a salvage yard where you can just go get one of these, so the 2002, 2003, you can get on eBay and you can find these, and they're not just terrible, and sometimes they're like, I've seen them in excellent condition on there. So if you want to make your steering wheel look nice, that's how you do it. So you can see the difference, and it very simple, very easy to do this. And we also got the steering wheel tight. I don't know why it came loose. I guess just from vibration, but we put Loctite in there, so that had to be addressed anyway. So anyways, I just have to reconnect my battery here, and we're about all finished up. Okay, and like I said, I got it, everything's working just fine. Just hooked the battery back up, so I'm really pleased with this. I said I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and as always, I invite you to subscribe, and I thank you for watching.